Hello, people. I'm Jaby Koay, joined by Courtney Wright.
Hello.
We managed to get into an early screening of Phantom Thread starring Daniel Day-Lewis, thanks to Courtney Wright, who's got connections. She's a gangsta. I'm going to read you the one-liner from IMDb. Set in 1950s London, Reynolds Woodcock is a renowned dressmaker whose fastidious life is disrupted by a young, strong-willed woman, Alma, who becomes his muse and lover. Sorry, I read that wrong. I can't read today, apparently. Illiterate. This is written and directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, and it also stars Leslie Manville and Vicky Krieps. I'm sorry, Vicky. I know you're watching this review, and I apologize. There's gonna be a built-in audience for this movie because they all want to see Daniel Day-Lewis's final performance. That's what it was for me. Like, I was going to watch this day one, and then Courtney asked me if I wanted to watch it with her. I'm like, yes. Like, before she could even finish her sentence. She's like, do you want to watch it or should I take a try? No, fuck her. Like, take me. What the hell?
It was pretty clear. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
all right.
I had to watch this as soon as possible. I try to watch anything with Daniel Day-Lewis as early as I can. If you were just wondering whether or not you should watch this movie based on that, if that's enough to go off of, I would say yes. Daniel Day-Lewis's performance, as always, he brings it. And so, yes, if that's all you're wondering, go watch the movie. Stop watching
As
this
usual.
And just go watch it. Now, in addition to that, I think Paul Thomas Anderson actually brought an interesting story to the table. He actually gave Daniel Day-Lewis an interesting vehicle for a final send-off.
Yeah.
The film is actually funny. Like, there's actually a lot of funny moments throughout the movie, and I think it's worth noting that because the trailer does not indicate that whatsoever. It feels like a very serious movie, but there are so many moments, sarcastic, lighthearted, where it actually induces laughter, and I'm like, this is awesome. It's awesome.
To the point that I was like, can I laugh?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, is it okay? Because that was really funny.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
For me, obviously, this performance is not going to be as interesting as something like Gangs of New York or My Left Foot, or even like In the Name of the Father. Some of the other, character-based performances that Daniel Day-Lewis has done. This is actually closest to his actual speaking voice more than any other role that I've seen him do in a long time. And yet, with that, he still found ways to bring specific character nuances that it makes you feel like you're actually watching someone who is a dressmaker who's been doing it for years.
Yeah, because he was living within the role. From like the way he would do his hands, or the little brush of the forehead, the twinkle in his eye. You could tell this was someone who loved what they did. Whether or not he translated from his love of acting or performance or what have you, like, it was clear. I felt like I was watching someone live. That's exactly what his profession was. If I didn't know anything about Daniel Day-Lewis, that he was not a dressmaker, I would have thought that that was his, like, profession.
Everything. Just the way he, like, would study the woman.
Yes.
The way he picked up certain things, the way he
held the pen, and then, before he pinned a dress, or even just, like, as he was watching people move in his clothing.
Yeah.
Like, it was beautiful.
Yeah, it was on point. And he's obviously going to steal the show. He eclipses everybody else because his performance is so strong, and he's got a magnetic presence about him as it is. So,
I don't know. I thought there was a really strong supporting cast, though. The two women who were his main actors along with him in the scenes, they were outstanding.
They did great. They did good work. They did very, very good work. Don't get me wrong.
No, but to match, like, they matched each other.
I don't know.
No, but they did. Like, the sister? You don't think
No, I think she did a great job. I think she did a great job. I just don't.
I thought she was wonderful.
I think they all did wonderful performances. But it's like, okay, there's great, and then there's Daniel Day-Lewis. Like,
yeah, I know what
you're
saying, but like, you also, I've seen other actors drop the ball in scenes with powerful actors.
Sure, that's true.
They served his story. They
Right.
allowed him to be this enigmatic character.
Right.
Because they gave him something to work from.
Yeah, I agree with you. With you. No, I think that is true. That's a very good point, is that oftentimes you have these powerhouse actors next to people who kind of get nervous or are just not as good, and they just completely drop it.
Out of the water.
And
like,
it's
you
like,
sunk my battleship.
If that powerhouse actor wasn't there, that performance would be acceptable. But because that powerhouse actor is there, this one is obviously garbage now, just because of the dichotomy between the two. And you're right, like, they brought so much to it. It felt like they were at least sort of playing at his level.
Yeah.
And that's a lot. I don't think anyone can compete with, like, how much study that Daniel Day-Lewis brings to it. Like, he was probably this guy for 2 years. Like, that's the kind of person Daniel Day-Lewis is. Like, when he did There Will Be Blood, he was that guy for 2 years before they shot a single frame, before they shot principal photography at all. That's the kind of person he is. He's like super method, and it's understandable why he wants to let go of this.
Yeah, I gotta be done.
It takes too much of him.
And talk about someone who gives to their, you're not just showing up for a check. Like, you're literally giving of your soul and leaving it on film. To watch someone give that kind of life and share it, it literally... I received it.
Yeah.
You know?
Paul Thomas Anderson, like I want to say, full disclosure, like I wasn't the biggest Paul Thomas Anderson fan at the outset of his career. I mean, well, the first film I'm aware of that he did that was big was Boogie Nights. After that, Magnolia, for instance, I really liked that movie, and I really liked There Will Be Blood. I can't remember if I've seen...
I liked Boogie Nights.
I liked it okay. I didn't love it. In general, I've found that I actually do really like Paul Thomas Anderson. I like what he brings to the table. I think that the way he allows his actors to just be and perform is incredible. I think it's great because in another director's hands, he might try to get too creative with the camera angles as opposed to just letting it sit and letting the actors do their thing. All very simple setups throughout this movie, and I actually really like that. He didn't get carried away with anything that wouldn't facilitate telling the story more effectively.
The camera wasn't intrusive. It was almost...
A character.
And it was a character, and it was almost like documentary style. Like, it wasn't a documentary, but it was like he was following the lives of these people and just happening to capture what was happening.
The music was a very prominent character in itself, almost like we were saying about the directing being a character. The music was its own character because it was very prominent. It was very at the front of the film, more so than I might have appreciated. I would have dialed it back a little bit, but I get it. Like, it's kind of guiding the picture.
It was also guiding the emotion of the scene, depending on which character was featured. It followed the emotional drive that they were going through. It was really cool.
So you really liked the music in the movie?
I did. I didn't feel like it overpowered the scene, and I didn't feel like it was distracting.
Okay. In general, I appreciated the music. I appreciated the score. I thought that it was great. It was a great soundtrack for the film to kind of underscore everything happening. My only issue is sometimes for me, it was drawing too much attention to itself. It was so prominent that I was like focused in on that as opposed to what was happening on camera. And I just would have liked it if in certain moments it was just dialed back a little bit more. In addition to that, the costume design was actually really solid in this film as well.
It was impeccable.
Yeah, like the set design and costume design, everything about it just felt very real. Like you walked into this world and you just felt like you were there.
Yeah, because they were a character.
Yeah.
The costumes were another character.
There was no part where you were questioning it. It didn't feel like something that was made in 2017. It felt like you were literally in the 1950s, part of this world. For a film to do that is amazing to me. I just got lost in it. If not, it is damn close to being a masterpiece.
Yeah, I thought it was just a incredible work of art.
I'm pretty sure Paul Thomas Anderson did a lot of research, I'm sure, to get every little detail right. Like, as much as DayLewis did for acting, I'm pretty sure Paul Thomas Anderson did for the writing and the directing.
It was perfection.
I hope you guys watch this movie. I strongly recommend it. For me, this is a solid 5 out of 5, one of the best movies of the year, and I hope that it takes Best Picture, at least Best Performance by DayLewis. At least a nomination would be great, but I think that it will garner Oscars for sure. So I just want to talk a little bit about our sponsor for this video, Stardust. If you haven't heard yet, Stardust is an app you can download for your phone. It allows you to record reviews between 3 and 30 seconds long for trailers, movies, and TV shows. It's a great way to get started on reviews if you're remotely interested in it. If you want to just look at people's reviews to get a large swath of opinions, you can move through it really fast, like Instagram stories or Snapchat, where you just click and move on to the next one, and you can avoid spoilers. It allows you to stay on track with the same conversation. The reason why I recommend it is because unlike Twitter, unlike Snapchat, it really helps you just hone in on conversations about movies or TV shows and trailers. And that's exciting. That's always really cool. Hopefully that inspires you guys to get on board. Please.
Inspired me.
Inspired you. Yeah. Exactly. Hopefully. Yeah, so yeah, you just threw off my mojo. You just threw off my groove.
I was like right in rhythm with you.
Like, no, we're together. So, I appreciate it. Download the app using the link in the description below. Follow Jaby Koay first because I'm the one that recommended it to you, and make sure you tag both myself and Achara on Twitter after you upload your first video. And hopefully it'll be in the next review that we do. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Check out CORTNEY WRIGHT on the social media. Check out our other reactions, reviews, and short films. I'm Jaby Koay. This is
CORTNEY WRIGHT.
Peace out.